Here are 5 phrases, often said by men, that hide a deeper meaning which can damage your self-worth and energy. These aren't just red flags. The psychological manipulation disguised as normal conversation. Discover how to protect yourself and understand the true intentions behind their words. Don't let this happen to you. Learn how to walk with confidence and keep yourself valued.
Welcome back to our channel. We're so glad to have you here again. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback means a lot to us. Keep watching and stay tuned for more insightful videos. Listen closely because what I'm about to share with you could save you years of heartache, confusion, and wasted energy. Over the past decade, I've delved deep into human psychology, ancient wisdom, and relationship dynamics. I've discovered 5 particular phrases that, when a man says them to you, reveal his true intentions so clearly that ignoring them is like ignoring a fire alarm in your own home. These aren't just red flags, they are psychological manipulation tactics cleverly disguised as ordinary conversation. And once you hear them, you'll never be able to unhear them. Stay with me until the end because the 5th one is so subtle yet so devastating that 99% of women miss it entirely. It's probably the most important thing you'll learn about protecting your energy this year. Before we dive into these 5 phrases, there's something essential you need to understand, something that will forever change how you perceive every interaction with men. Most women have been conditioned to give others the benefit of the doubt, to see potential rather than reality, to heal rather than protect. This conditioning runs so deep that we've lost touch with our natural ability to detect emotional predators. Yes, I'm calling them emotional predators, those who use specific language patterns to test your boundaries, lower your standards, and make you question your worth. The ancient wisdom of the Dalai Lama teaches us that words carry energy. When someone speaks to you, they're not just delivering information, they're transferring their internal state, their intentions, and their level of respect for you directly into your energetic field. This is why certain conversations leave you feeling drained, confused, or self-doubting, even when you can't quite figure out what went wrong. Your intuition picked up on the energetic signature of manipulation, but your logical mind tried to brush it off. What I'm about to reveal isn't just relationship advice, it's a form of energetic self-defense designed to protect not just your heart but your entire life trajectory. Here's something no one ever talks about: the man you choose doesn't just impact your romantic life. He shapes your career, your friendships, your family relationships, your self-esteem, your financial future, and even your physical health. Choose the wrong one, and you'll spend years trying to recover from the damage. Choose wisely, or better yet, learn how to spot and walk away from the wrong ones immediately, and you'll create space for something beautiful to enter your life. The first phrase that should make you run fast is when a man says you're too sensitive, or any variation of that, like you're being dramatic or you're overreacting. This is manipulation at its finest. It's designed to make you question your own perception of reality. When a man dismisses your emotional responses as being too much, he's not criticizing your sensitivity. He's revealing his inability to handle a woman who knows her worth and speaks her truth. Here's what's really happening when he says this. He's testing whether you'll abandon your emotional intelligence to accommodate his comfort. He's seeing if you'll shrink yourself to make him feel bigger. A man who truly cares about you doesn't dismiss your feelings. He gets curious about them. He asks questions. He listens. He tries to understand your perspective even if he doesn't initially agree. But when he tells you that your natural emotional responses are wrong or excessive, he's essentially telling you that he values his own comfort more than your authentic self-expression. The most insidious part of this phrase is that it plants a seed of self-doubt which grows over time. You start questioning every emotion, every gut feeling, every intuitive insight. You begin monitoring yourself constantly, wondering if you're being too much. This is exactly what emotional predators want. They want you disconnected from your internal guidance system because your intuition is the one thing that can protect you from their manipulation. Women who experience this kind of dismissal often find themselves years later having to rebuild their relationship with their own emotions. They've lost touch with what they truly feel because they've been trained to believe their emotions are wrong. This is energetic violence, and it's happening in relationships everywhere because we've normalized it as just how men are. But I'm here to tell you that conscious, evolved men don't operate this way. They understand that a woman's emotional depth is not a flaw to be fixed, but a gift to be honored. The second phrase that should send you running is, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm just telling you the truth," especially when it follows a cruel, unnecessary, or deliberately hurtful comment. This is another manipulation tactic designed to make cruelty seem like a virtue. When someone uses honesty as a weapon, they're not being honest, they're being abusive and trying to make you feel grateful for it. Real honesty comes from a place of love and genuine care for the other person's well-being. It's delivered with kindness, compassion, and consideration for timing and context. But when a man says something hurtful and then hides behind the excuse of just being honest, he's revealing that either he lacks empathy completely or enjoys causing you pain, and he wants to make it your fault for being hurt by it. I've seen this pattern systematically destroy women's self-esteem. He'll make comments about your appearance, intelligence, dreams, friends, family, anything that matters to you. And when you express that his words hurt, he'll act like you're the problem for not appreciating his honesty. This creates a psychological trap where you start believing that love means accepting cruelty and that asking for kindness makes you weak or needy. The truth is, a man who loves you will naturally want to build you up, not tear you down. Yes, sometimes difficult conversations need to happen in relationships, but they should be handled with care and the intention to strengthen the bond, not to diminish you as a person. When someone consistently uses honesty as an excuse to be cruel, they're showing you that they don't have your best interests at heart. They're more interested in asserting dominance than fostering genuine intimacy. What makes this phrase particularly dangerous is that our culture has conditioned us to value honesty above kindness. We often feel we should be grateful when someone is real with us, even when that realness feels like emotional violence. But here's what I want you to understand: you can have both honesty and kindness. In fact, true honesty without compassion isn't honesty at all, it's just cruelty disguised as virtue. He gets to have all your emotional support, your physical affection, your time, your energy, and your loyalty while maintaining the freedom to walk away whenever he wants without feeling guilty because he told you from the start that he wasn't ready. What makes this particularly devastating is that it puts you in an impossible position. If you stay and accept this situation, you're essentially agreeing to be undervalued and treated as optional. If you express that you want more, he can point to his earlier disclaimer and make you feel like you're the one who changed the rules. If you walk away, you feel like you're throwing away something that could potentially become real if you just wait long enough. But here's what I need you to understand. When a man truly wants to be with you, there's no confusion. There's no "not ready" or "let's see where this goes." When a man recognizes your value and wants to secure his place in your life, he moves with intention and clarity. The men who keep you in relationship limbo aren't confused about what they want. They know exactly what they want: to have you available without fully committing to you. This dynamic is particularly painful because it keeps you emotionally invested while systematically eroding your sense of self-worth. You start to believe that you're not valuable enough to be chosen fully, that you need to prove your worth by accepting less than what you actually want. You begin to see commitment as something you have to earn rather than something you deserve simply by being yourself. The most insidious part is that these men often genuinely care about you. They enjoy your company. They're attracted to you. They might even love you in their own limited way. But they care about their own freedom and options more than they care about your happiness and security. They'd rather keep you in an uncertain situation than risk losing access to you by being honest about their intentions. Now, we come to the fifth and most dangerous phrase, the one that's so subtle that most women don't even recognize it as manipulation until years later when they're trying to rebuild their sense of self. This phrase is, "You've changed, but not in a good way." He says it with disappointment, with accusation, with the implication that the person you're becoming is somehow worse than who you were when he met you. This phrase is soul-crushing because it's designed to make you abandon your growth, your evolution, and your authentic self to return to a version of yourself that was more convenient for him. When a man says, "You've changed," as a criticism, he's revealing that he fell in love with your potential for serving his needs, not with your potential for becoming who you're meant to be. Here's what's really happening. You're growing, evolving, setting boundaries, pursuing your dreams, speaking your truth, or simply becoming more confident in who you are. And instead of celebrating this growth, instead of feeling proud to witness your evolution, he feels threatened by it. Why? Because the version of you that he preferred was smaller, more manageable, more focused on him, and less focused on your own expansion. This phrase is particularly devastating because it targets your most vulnerable spot, your need to be loved and accepted as you are. When someone you care about implies that your growth is a betrayal of who you really are, it creates a psychological crisis. You start to question whether becoming more yourself is worth the risk of losing love. You begin to wonder if you should shrink back down to the size that felt safer for him. I've watched women abandon their dreams, their friendships, their career goals, and their personal growth because a man made them feel like their evolution was somehow selfish or wrong. They stopped going to therapy because he said it was changing them. They stopped pursuing their passions because he preferred when their attention was more focused on him. They stopped setting boundaries because he liked them better when they were more accommodating. But here's what you need to understand. At the deepest level, a man who truly loves you doesn't just accept your growth. He champions it. He feels excited when he sees you becoming more confident, more clear about what you want, more connected to your purpose. He understands that your growth doesn't threaten the relationship. It strengthens it because you're bringing more of your authentic self to the connection. When a man criticizes you for changing, he's essentially telling you that he preferred you when you were less than who you're capable of being. He's admitting that his love was conditional on your willingness to stay small. This isn't love. This is possession. This is someone who wants to own you rather than adore you. The most heartbreaking part is that women often interpret this phrase as evidence that they've done something wrong, that they've betrayed the relationship by growing. They feel guilty for becoming more themselves. They apologize for taking up more space, for having clearer boundaries, for pursuing their dreams with more intensity. They start to view their own evolution as selfish rather than as the natural progression of a healthy, conscious human being. Now that you know these 5 phrases and what they really mean, you might be feeling a mix of emotions. Maybe you're recognizing patterns from your past. Maybe you're seeing current relationships in a new light. Maybe you're feeling angry that no one taught you this before. Maybe you're feeling grateful that you're learning it now. All of these feelings are valid, and I want you to honor whatever's coming up for you. But here's what I need you to understand. This information isn't meant to make you cynical about love or suspicious of every man you meet. This is about developing discernment, the ability to distinguish between people who genuinely care about your well-being and people who are primarily focused on what they can get from you. It's about learning to trust your intuition when something feels off, even if you can't immediately articulate why. The truth is that there are men in this world who will never say these phrases to you because they understand that love is about creating safety, not testing limits. There are men who celebrate your sensitivity because they recognize it as emotional intelligence. There are men who deliver difficult truths with kindness because they genuinely care about your feelings. There are men who respect your boundaries because they understand that boundaries create intimacy, not distance. There are men who commit to you clearly and enthusiastically because they recognize your worth. There are men who love watching you grow because they understand that your expansion enhances the relationship rather than threatening it. These men exist, but you'll never recognize them if you're busy trying to rationalize the behavior of men who don't value you. You'll never attract them if you're settling for treatment that goes against your intuition. You'll never build something beautiful with them if you're exhausting your energy trying to heal someone who isn't interested in becoming better. Here's what I want you to do with this information. I want you to start paying attention to how you feel after conversations with the men in your life. Notice if you feel energized or drained. Notice if you feel seen and valued or confused and diminished. Notice if you feel encouraged to be more yourself or pressured to be less yourself. Your body keeps the score and your energy doesn't lie. Start trusting your initial gut reactions instead of talking yourself out of them. If something feels off in the first few weeks of knowing someone, it probably is. If you find yourself making excuses for someone's behavior or trying to convince yourself that their words didn't mean what you think they meant, pay attention to that. If you notice yourself changing your personality, your goals, or your standards to accommodate someone else's comfort, that's valuable information about the dynamic you're creating. Most importantly, I want you to understand that walking away from people who don't value you isn't cruel. It's self-love. It's not giving up on love. It's making space for real love to enter your life. Every moment you spend trying to convince someone to treat you well is a moment you're not available for someone who would never dream of treating you poorly. The right person for you won't require you to shrink yourself, explain your worth, or accept crumbs. The right person will see your value immediately and act accordingly. They won't need to be convinced to choose you because choosing you will feel like the most natural thing in the world. I want to share something with you that changed my entire perspective on relationships. Your boundaries aren't walls that keep love out. They're gates that let the right love in. When you clearly communicate what you need to feel safe and valued, you're not being difficult or demanding. You're being clear about the conditions under which you can show up as your most loving, generous, authentic self. The people who resist your boundaries aren't the people you want in your life anyway. The people who celebrate your boundaries, who ask thoughtful questions about how to honor them, who make adjustments to their behavior because they want you to feel good in their presence, these are your people. These are the people who understand that love isn't about taking whatever you can get. It's about creating an environment where both people can flourish. Every time you honor your own boundaries, you're teaching people how to treat you. Every time you walk away from someone who dismisses your needs, you're making a statement about your worth that reverberates through every area of your life. Every time you choose yourself over someone else's comfort, you're building the foundation for relationships based on mutual respect rather than one-sided accommodation. This isn't about becoming hard or closed off. This is about becoming clear and intentional about who gets access to your energy, your time, your body, and your heart. This is about understanding that your love is precious and should be given to people who recognize its value, not to people who take it for granted. Here's the final truth I want to leave you with, and this might be the most important thing you hear today. You are not responsible for healing people who hurt you. You are not responsible for teaching people how to love you properly. You are not responsible for staying in situations that diminish your light just because someone else isn't ready to step into their own power. Your job is not to be so understanding, so patient, so forgiving that you lose yourself in the process. Your job is not to love people into becoming better versions of themselves. Your job is to be authentic, to honor your own needs, to trust your intuition, and to create a life that feels aligned with your deepest values. The love you're looking for is looking for you too, but it can only find you when you stop settling for less than what you deserve. It can only recognize you when you're being fully yourself, not when you're pretending to be smaller or easier or more convenient for someone else. So, the next time someone says one of these 5 phrases to you, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to take a deep breath, trust what you know to be true, and make the choice that honors your worth. Because you deserve love that feels like freedom, not love that feels like prison. You deserve love that celebrates your growth, not love that punishes it. You deserve love that sees your sensitivity as a gift, not love that treats it like a burden. Walk away from anyone who makes you question your worth. Walk toward people who celebrate it. Your future self will thank you for having the courage to choose yourself, even when it feels scary, even when it feels hard, even when it means walking away from potential that was never really there. The right love won't require you to sacrifice yourself to receive it. The right love will feel like coming home to yourself, not leaving yourself behind. Trust that, choose that, and never ever settle for less than that again.